In the last 10 years, SNAC has provided fighter training stack supplements to more than 20 world champions, including Mikey Garcia, Demetrius Andrade, and Caleb Plant. If you're ready to take your fight game to the next level, the SNAC Fighter Training Stack is for you.
Eddie, I know you probably touched on this, but if I could just get your comments on how Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz came about.
Quite simply, we looked at the best heavyweights in the world. Luis Ortiz, you know, we made a huge offer to Luis Ortiz. They talked a good game and they got found out. Andy Ruiz, Trevor Bryan, Pulev, Michael Hunter, all these guys. I had to go with the guy that in my heart I believed would give the fans the best entertainment on June 1. The best fighter that would come and let his hands go, that wouldn't wilt under pressure, you know, that wouldn't come to survive, that wouldn't just come for the payday. And when I spoke to Andy Ruiz, you know, if Andy Ruiz was built like Anthony Joshua, aesthetically, he would be a massive star because he's a Mexican heavyweight that can really fight. Unfortunately, he looks more like me in a pair of shorts, right? So people look at him from the casual fans and go, oh, this guy can't beat Anthony Joshua. Speak to people in boxing. You know, speak to Oscar De La Hoya, speak to Canelo, speak to Jesse Vargas. They've all come up to me today and gone, your boy better get ready for that fight because he's a handful, you know. So that's a good fight. For Joshua, he remains the same. He will fight absolutely anyone. He does not care. He wants the challenge. It's a banana skin against Andy Ruiz because everybody will be looking at it saying, oh, he's going to knock this guy out. You know, I spoke to Ruiz this morning. He's so pumped for this fight. We're going to do a press conference here on Saturday with Andy. He'll be in town. You guys can see. He's up for this fight. It wasn't about the money. You know, it wasn't about politics. It was just give me a chance to seal my legacy to become Mexico's first world heavyweight champion.
When was it finalized, Eddie? When was it finalized?
It was signed yesterday. Yeah, but we agreed terms maybe 3 days before that. But he should have a Snickers deal. I think he needs to speak to his agent. I think he's a great story. You know, he's like one of those guys. Like I think he done an interview yesterday. He says he's going to win this fight for all the fat people around the world.
So did you speak to Al about it? Because Andy's with PBC.
Yeah, I spoke to Tom Brown, who is his promoter, and Luis de Cubas, who works with Al, who I'm very good friends with. You know, they didn't stand in the way of the opportunity. It wasn't easy, but
why wasn't it easy?
Just because it's never easy to make a unified world heavyweight title fight, especially when you're 5 weeks out. You know, he just fought. But Andy was the one, you know, Andy sent me a message on Instagram. He said, please give me this fight. I will beat Anthony Joshua. I know I can. And that was really the start of it, where I then spoke to Tom Brown and Luis de Cubas. We finalised the details, and Andy signed yesterday.
So all that talk then with, hold on. With all that talk then when people say, oh, you know, Al's blocking fights, it's difficult.
Depends on the fighter, you know. So it's pretty straightforward. So it's not Al's fault, right? But every promoter has to make sure that when they sign a network deal, they keep their top talent on the network, right? So Andy Ruiz is not Keith Thurman, is not Manny Pacquiao, is not Deontay Wilder. So you get to a stage with someone like Andy Ruiz where he will go to Al and say, please give me this chance. Like, don't let me lose this opportunity. Al will go and speak to Fox, who just aired him last Saturday with probably 1 million audience, and say, just to let you know, this kid's had an opportunity to fight for the world heavyweight title. We shouldn't stand in his case. In that situation, as DAZN would do, where actually Tevin's a good example of that as well. You know, I would have to go to DAZN and say, look, Tank Davis will only fight Tevin if it's on Showtime. They may turn around and go, no, we don't want that. They wouldn't, because I would tell them, you can't ruin this opportunity for this kid. And that would be the same instance with Andy Ruiz. Right? Now you get the bigger guys. Al can't afford, and to be honest, like, we all can't afford. Like, I can't. If Anthony Joshua signs a long-term deal with DAZN, it's very difficult for me to take a fight on another platform. That's just business. So when you say, oh, it's great that Al let him take his fight, yeah, he did let him take his fight, so he should do as well. But it's a different scenario when you're talking about Errol Spence or you're talking about those kind of guys, because, and I don't blame Al in that sense. You've got to do the right job for the fighter, but he also has to say, well, you've signed with my network, so that's where you should be boxing. But in the Andy Ruiz instance, how can you let a guy who's now going to make millions of dollars achieve a dream of trying to win the world heavyweight title? Andy feels he should be world champion. Andy feels he beat Joseph Parker in New Zealand. It was a very, very close fight. So, you know, we thank those guys for allowing this fight to happen. So they should. But they, you know, could they have blocked it? Yeah, maybe. I mean, there would have been a.
So with